The FIAT Madagascar Appeal.
Dr. Bellamy, why have you become involved in the FIAT Madagascar Appeal?
Well, one of the things I'm perhaps most proud to be is a trustee of the World Wildlife Fund. The World Wildlife Fund, of course, is an international body, and they have a wonderful panda logo, you know, and they are helping to look after the wildlife of this earth of ours. Now, every now and again, you know, the trustees have to do their bit in, you know, helping with an appeal. And, you know, this beautiful, wonderful appeal was dangled in front of me, and of course I said yes immediately.
Now, FIAT are involved. Why are they involved particularly in this project?
Well, you know, very often, you know, companies get involved in projects because they've got something to celebrate. And FIAT evidently are celebrating the sale of their millionth Uno car, okay? And they're turning around saying, well, let's celebrate by doing something positive for this world. Because, remember, they're an international company themselves. And so they're getting together with the World Wildlife Fund and thinking up and have thought up the Madagascar FIAT Appeal.
Now, Madagascar is a wonderful name, but where is it exactly?
Well, it isn't really the sort of place you're going to spend your holidays on, perhaps. You know, it's sort of on the left-hand or right-hand side of Africa, depending on which way you're looking at the world. But it's a very, very important place biologically, as far as natural history is concerned. You see, because it's a wonderful island, which is an ark, and floating about in this ark are some pretty unique animals. We've all heard about Australia, you know, with its marsupials, you know, its pouched animals, kangaroos and things. But at the same time, all one time in the past, that all the land masses of the world were together in a giant continent called Pangaea, and they all started to split up, and Australia went off with one group of animals on board, and Madagascar went off with another group. Now, it's the fourth largest island in the world, and on it are, well, just take for instance the lemuroids. These are a wonderful group of rather monkey-like creatures which really have their major distribution there in Madagascar, and there are some pretty fantastic ones. Unfortunately, we've lost the giant lemur of the past. That disappeared. That was a lemur that was almost as big, well, not as me, probably as you, and walked through the forest there. The smallest lemuroid in the world is still living there. But the one I like most of all is called the Aye, or the Aye, A-Y-E, and that lives in the rainforest there, and it has a one very, very long special finger. And evidently this finger is used to hook the choicest bits out of its dinner, you see, so it's perfectly adapted. But many of these animals, including the Aye, are adapted to live in that one habitat. And if the habitat's destroyed, they will go with them. And that's what's happening. You see, the rainforests of Madagascar are being destroyed at a phenomenal rate, and we are beginning to lose those things. So not just the Aye, but there are 700 animals alone which could become extinct unless something is done right now to help save those forests.
Lots of people will want to help Madagascar. What can they do about it?
Well, it's very simple. You know, lots and lots of people send me letters and say, look, it's all right, you and Attenborough going roaring around the world, doing things, saving wildlife, but what can I do? Now, here's the chance, and all you've got to do is remember this telephone number, 01200 0200. Now, I'm awful sorry, you see, to London telephone number, but all you who live outside London, wait till late at night when it's quite cheap to phone up and keep on phoning until you get through, because once you get through, that means that FIAT are going to send me £1, which is going to the World Wildlife Fund Appeal. It's as easy as that.
So every time there is a phone call, £1 goes from FIAT to Madagascar.
That's it, but much, much more exciting, you see, because you leave your name and your address, and then through the post within 48 hours is going to come the most marvellous project pack, and on that is going to be a flexi disc, so you're not going to be there sitting in the dark not quite knowing any more about it. A flexi disc with me telling you all about the importance of Madagascar and what the appeal means. There's going to be stickers and all sorts of literature about it, but perhaps most important of all, there's going to be a scratch card. And I can imagine, actually, the IA having one of these and sitting with his longer fingernail scratching it off. And the fascinating thing is, when you scratch it off, you'll find the AA's looking out at you. And this isn't going to be one of those things where you've got to scratch 5 million before you get a chance to win. There's going to be, in fact, it's going to be very difficult not to win. And then off you go down to your local FIAT dealer. And this is the only complicated bit, you see, because it's all the children who are really into conservation, isn't it? But they've got to get a mum or a dad or a big brother or sister who's over 18 and take them along with them to claim their fantastic prize.
And their fantastic prize will be what?
Well, it's a phenomenal disc, okay, and it's a disc. Remember, it's 1 million Uno cars have been sold. So on this disc are all stars who've sold 1 million records, right? So there's one of their hit records on the disc. And this is going to give an awful lot of people, well, perhaps mums and dads will have their fingers in their ears for some of them, but it's going to give an awful lot of people an awful lot of pleasure. Because to actually have a disc with 12 stars who've all sold more than 1 million records, absolutely fantastic. I can't think of a better prize.
What artists are on this album?
Even an aging old David Bellamy should be able to remember. Wham! Paul Young, the Thompson twins. Now, I know them because I went out to the Algarve on the same aeroplanes. Them super people, super music. Nick Kershaw and Tina Turner. That's for a start. Can I remember anyone? No, well, that'll do, won't it?
Once the money has come into the appeal, will we be able to see how Madagascar benefits in the future?
Well, I'm sure it's such a fantastic thing, isn't it, that is happening, that we are going to hear about how it's spent. And I'll certainly I've got to go to different parts of the world this year. I'll be coming back from Australia later this year, and I will drop in Madagascar and see how it's going, because the World Wildlife Fund don't waste money. And in this case, it's not going to administration or anything. That money is going to go zooming straight out there on the aeroplane and get working alongside the Madagascan people to conserve all those wonderful rainforests, all those plants, all those animals. Just think, 700 different sorts of animals may become extinct on this earth if you don't get phoned in. So here is something which everybody can do. It doesn't matter how small, how big, how old you are. Children of all ages, up to 193.
To support the FIAT Madagascar Appeal, phone 01 200 0200 now.